Chapter 3, Part 2. The 1st of February 2019. Well, yesterday was just bloody brilliant. Just what I needed. What a place. I'm in love. The Mozart Trail today. A guided tour. I can't wait. I can't say I know anything about the man or his music, but you cannot come here and not be in awe of Salzburg's favourite son. I also had another text from Mrs. Fitzgerald. She's looking forward to our meeting, 11 a.m. in Aop's coffee shop in Rochdale town centre. I'm looking forward to meeting her again too. But for now, all thoughts of Rochdale need to be shunted out of my head. Rochdale and Salzburg should not be sharing my headspace. The two should never be brought together, or used in the same sentence again. Whatever next? Hull and Venice? Rome and Wigan? Would Mozart become Mozart if he'd born and brought up in Skegness? Would he have composed work of breathtaking genius had he been reared in Oldham? I fear not, and I needn't fear. Here he is in this beautiful city, and I must sign off now and go and follow in his footsteps. 2nd of February 2019. My last full day of the trip, and what a day it's been. A trip up to Fortress Hohensalzburg, a jaunt around the cathedral, and a pleasant amble through the Mirabell Palace, breathtaking in every direction. The adjectives I would use to describe the place, beautiful, white, clean and peaceful, are hardly words of wonder, but they do sum up the place perfectly. I'm sure there are many more superlatives that could be attributed to such a glorious city and its surrounding area, but these will do for me. Would I come again? Definitely, in a heartbeat. I'm so pleased I chose Austria over the other options available to me. I'm sure the other city breaks will add a lot to offer too, but the calm and tranquility here has been like a shot in the arm for me, just what I needed. I feel I'm at one with nature, chilled to the soul. The nearby Alps have looked down on me and sheltered me from all the stresses and strain of the world. This is so different from home. So different. I couldn't have asked for more. Salzburg, I think I've really fallen in love with you. Back to Munich tomorrow and the flight back to rainy Manchester. Have I checked the weather forecast? I don't need to. Well, this trip has certainly stoked the fire in my belly to travel and experience other cultures. We get lost in our own worlds and forget there's a bigger one out there. This time tomorrow, I'll be 30,000 feet up in the air and 774.2 miles away from where I am now. But I needed this. Thank you, Germany. Thank you, Austria. I think I've found myself again. The 3rd of February 2019. Up early this morning, and a fond farewell to my German hosts, Jonas and Mila Ficha. How their place ever found its way onto the internet search history is a mystery. TripAdvisor recommendations and a highly commended status by 3 of the leading accommodation websites lured me to this Munich backstreet. Hotel Lisa was its name. I don't know who Lisa was, and with a red lamp blazing above the front door, I really did have to wonder what their game was. The entrance was neither grand nor inviting, but after hours of travelling, I didn't really want to go looking for other places to lay my head. Any initial fears evaporated when Jonas opened the door and invited me in. He welcomed me like the son he hadn't seen for 20 years. No handshakes here. A firm embrace and smile that could melt the hardest of hearts. A complimentary glass of beer helped too. His own brew, I later found out. He led me into what I can only imagine was his only living room. He invited me to sit by the fire. His English was superb. It always shames me that I cannot converse in any other language other than my own. I'd only been in the place for 10 minutes, and here I was, on his sofa, in front of a roaring log fire, drinking his beer, watching football on his TV. I hadn't even seen my room at this point, and shortly after this I was introduced to his wife, Mila. It was hard to put an age on the couple. where I guessed they were at least a decade over the usual retirement age. Mila greeted me in much the same way as her husband, and insisted I join them for supper. The smells from the nearby kitchen were intoxicating. How could I say no, Mr. Diary? The food, it was some kind of goulash, was mouth-watering. Fresh, home-cooked bread, more beer, and a bottle of red wine too. I can't even remember introducing myself as a guest. They must have been expecting me, and the suitcase would have been a giveaway anyway. By the time I was eventually shown my room, my head was spinning, and I knew more about the Fishers than I knew about my own family. The room was basic, but it was homely and welcoming. The furniture, carpets, curtains, and upholstery were dated, but scrupulously clean, and it was warm and welcoming as the people who called this place home. It didn't feel like a hotel at all. Both Jonas and Mila were genuinely interested in me and my life. This wasn't false customer service or fake fawning over me. They were genuine, loving, caring people. You can keep your free Wi-Fi, your complimentary mints and folded swan serviettes. This was my kind of place. My 2 nights here, split by the other one in Salzburg, were first class. 5 stars without the glitz and the glamour. I sat with the pair for a coffee in their living room before I made my way to the train station and the journey back. I was their only guest that week. February was always a quiet time, I was told. They only had 3 rooms to let anyway, so to have a third of the rooms occupied was not a shabby return for this time of year. We exchanged phone numbers and addresses. I didn't bother with email. They struck me as writers, not typers, and we promised to stay in touch. I hope we do. I really hope we do. We parted with another hug and a handshake, which bookended my visit just nicely. I write this on the train back towards the airport and home. This will be my sign-off for the day. I think I'll be ready to crash out and go straight to sleep when I eventually navigate my way through 2 airports, car parks and slow-moving motorways on the way back home. The journey takes nearly as long as the holiday. Thank you, Jonas and Mila. Thank you, Germany, once again. Normality looms. Good night, Mr. Diary. The 4th of February 2019. No time for rest and recuperation. The flat was as I left it, apart from a mountain of post which I will log after my morning meeting with Mrs. Fitzgerald. It is only about 15 miles to Rochdale, and it's hardly New York, so I don't need to set off much before 10:30. I'm quite laid back about this one. She is a nice, genuine lady, with an itch that needs to be scratched. For all she's an attractive lady too, sweet and warm, I'm not attracted to her, but I did enjoy her company. I think today will be the same. I don't want to be the one that brings her bad news, but I must put on my professional head and deliver any news I get with efficiency and honesty, without emotion, if possible. She is seeking information. How she deals with that information is her business. I'm sure I never used to overthink these things before. I must have softened. I need to get my head back into the job. The holiday is in the past now, but I must not leave it so long before we have another one. Right, have I got what I need? You, my diary, are coming along, of course, as with the dictaphone, notepad and pen, spare pen just in case the other one runs out, camera, you just never know when an opportunity presents itself to gather some evidence. Right, here we go then. Quick shower and a trip to A-Ups in Rochdale. What a way to spend your Monday morning. PM. It's now 1 PM, and I make these notes sat outside the cemetery pub on the outskirts of Rochdale. A-Ups was little more than a grease spoon, but served its purpose, and the booths gave Mrs. Fitzgerald the privacy she obviously needed. She looked tired and drained. The strain is clearly getting to her, and she wants to put this matter to bed as soon as possible, which is quite understandable. I won't milk this one. She deserves a quick resolution, and I don't think it will be too hard to reach one. Her husband leads a fairly normal and predictable life, and any changes to his routine will be quick to identify. His work start and end times are set, his routes to and from work are straightforward, his pattern of behaviour is regular, and his hobbies and interests are all within 3 mile radius, so any wandering out of this range will deserve further investigation. She explained that his movements have deviated from the norm over the past 3 months. He's been coming home later from work, and he's taken to cycling on a weekend, a hobby he's shown no interest in previously. This on its own is not strange, but when people behave out of character quite suddenly, there is usually a reason why. His name is Robert Fitzgerald, a civil servant in the local council offices. Not a bad wage, good holidays, boring job. All the elements of a man looking for a spark to reignite his dull existence. Monotony is no good for monogamy, as I've found out in the years in the job. I explained my rates to her, and she was happy to pay. I estimated a cost of around 1,500 for no more than 2 weeks' work. I reckon I could crack this one within a week, but it's always best to give yourself extra time if needed. Right, post time. Bills, of course. Virgin Broadband, BT Broadband, Sky Broadband, pizza shop leaflets, kebab shop takeaways, flyers, political party leaflets, even a business card for some guy looking to tarmac my drive. I don't even have a drive. Only one work-related letter. I will add it to the file and begin work on this one tomorrow. Mr. Green again from Plymouth. There could be more to this one than I first thought. Dear Mr. Brunskill, if you are ready to proceed with this search, then I am too. I trust you have had time to check out the birth certificate. Unfortunately, I have little more to offer you than this. It should at least give you a start, and with your skills and talents, I'm sure you can unearth more than I ever could. I have set aside an amount that I hope will cover your expenses for this job, but this can be increased should the work demand it. I would be obliged if you could notify me weekly of progress with your invoice for wages. I will, of course, in addition, reimburse you for any expenses accrued, e.g., travel, hotel costs, etc. Forgive my previous letters. I know they must have appeared vague. I should have been more explicit, but I really wasn't sure I was doing the right thing until now. Mr. Brunskill, I want you to find a man. I want you to find everything you can about him and his life, from his first days on earth up to his most recent. I want you to find out about his family, his school, his work, and his relationships. Who is he? What is he? Why is he? I'd be obliged if you could complete the work at your earliest convenience and give me all you have by no later than the end of April. I'll explain why nearer the time. Obviously, the more you find, the more you earn. Thank you, Mr. Brunskill. I know this is an unusual request. I'm sorry I cannot offer you any further information, but the birth certificate is the only document I have to go off. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Yours sincerely, William Green. Jackpot. It's almost an open checkbook. You don't often get a job like this. Real investigation, not just sitting in a van and eating soup from a Tupperware bowl. This is something I can get my teeth into. I must confess, Mr. Diary, I did not even look at the birth certificate when he first sent it. It was a job for after the holidays. Let me have a look. Here it is. Not much to go off. It's an old one. Handwritten. But at least I have a starting point. Ernest Grimshaw. Date of birth, 1st of March 1929. Place of birth, Greenbank Farm, Prospect, Cumbria. Father, David Grimshaw. Mother, Mabel Grimshaw. Home birth. That is that. No more to go on. Ernest Grimshaw, I'm coming to find you.